Bungie. Did you guys hire the YouTube auditor or something recently? Because you keep fucking yourselves on the ass over this. God damn it, Bungie. But for those of you who don't know, and probably don't even give a shit at this point, they recently announced some bare bones info regarding the upcoming DLC House of Wolves. And no, that shit is still not an expansion pack. It's a fucking unlock pack of shit we already have in the goddamn game. And you know what, I'm not even gonna get into that shit because I've ranted about it before. But with the little bit of info that Bungie has revealed, fans are already not impressed. I'm personally trying to hold off judgment on all their stupid shit, but they do shit that just makes you wonder how tone deaf they really are. And what doesn't help is their fan base is filled with leftover Halo assholes and Call of Duty rejects. So anything that changes in this game or shit they don't agree with, people lose their goddamn minds. So with their announcement, there were some good things involved and some potentially shitting things depending on how your perception of Destiny falls. Let's start with some of the good items that people actually can't argue about. We're getting a path to upgrading some of our older weapons, including an easier path to upgrading all of our exotics. If you saw the picture, the Fatebringer was listed as having 365 damage now, up from its current 300 that it's stuck at. To me, this is a beautiful thing because one of the best weapons in the game, along with some of the others, felt a little left behind when it came to the Dark Below. And now they're getting the bump that they actually need. Bungie's going to detail how that's going to work in the future, and hopefully it's something incredibly simple and not archaic like the last pack, but it's a step in the right direction. The Dark Below didn't give us an updated raid, so all the Vault of Glass guns, two of which are still fucking awesome to this day, were left behind when it came to the damage. Without an easy path to upgrading, basically the system that the Dark Below introduced was punitive to players based on the time they invested in the game. The more time you invested in the game, the more exotics you collected, the more time it took you to upgrade the motherfuckers because you had to reset all of them down to 0 in order to get all the full damage that they offered in the last pack. It was fucking stupid, but supposedly that's being fixed this time. Bungie said that they learned from that and that we will have the ability to upgrade the older guns in a much easier fashion, and that's a step in the right direction. So I'll hold off judgment until I see exactly how that's going to be done. The pack is also opening up the Reef. Now, do I think this is going to be something amazing? Absolutely not. It just looks like a social space in the game for people to visit. That's all. It doesn't have anything to explore other than that Prisons of Elder crap, which I'm going to talk about at the end of the video. But at the very least, we're getting a second social space in the game besides the tower. Third good thing, there doesn't seem to be a PlayStation exclusive strike mission this time around. Now, as a PlayStation 4 owner, don't get me wrong, I like my extra content right away, but at the same time, restricting Xbox from strikes meant that we got restricted from those strike missions when it comes to Nightfalls and weeklies. We haven't done Nightfalls on the two Mars exclusives, the Undying Mind and the Dust Palace that we originally got. I wouldn't mind trying those out when it comes to Nightfall because they're a pain in the ass to attempt. Now, I ain't crying over my Hawkmoon. Fuck, that shit is nice, motherfucker. You Xbox kids can suck it if all I give a fuck. But the fact that those two missions were restricted from Xbox also partially excluded PlayStation from a system-wide weekly rotation when it came to Nightfalls. This time around, there's no exclusive mission unless it's somewhere hidden and people don't even know about the shit, but I highly doubt it. So the exclusivity shit that annoys people to death doesn't seem like it's going to have a major impact as of now. I mean, there could be a hidden strike that we don't know about, but it hasn't been revealed yet. But as for the negative shit this DLC will bring, let's just dive into that shit, shall we? Now, in the prologue video that was released, we probably got the most amount of story that we'll ever get in Destiny. The Fallen were taken in by the Queen, decided to fuck her in the ass, kill off all her people, and now she's PMSing big time. You know, this sounds like the Dark Below all over again. The prologue for the Dark Below gave us a little bit of information about Crota, and then little kernels of information afterwards in the form of voiceovers. Omnigo had to be killed. Why? Because Eris said so. Crota's crystal had to be killed. Why? Because Eris said so, and even then we still had to fucking fight Crota in the goddamn raid. Eris knew more about Rasputin than anyone to date. How? How the fuck does she know? She hid in the fucking moon after Crota kicked her team's ass. She comes back and she's the fucking expert on Rasputin? Are you kidding me? That motherfucker's been around for thousands of years and she's been hiding in the moon. But apparently, she knows the motherfucker too because she says he doesn't like visitors or whatever the fuck it is. The Hive were attacking his ass. Meanwhile, the Cabal couldn't crack it and the time-traveling Vex couldn't figure the motherfucker out. How the hell are the mindless Vex gonna do anything to crack his ass? Come on, man. Again, the lack of story there and Eris knowing everything was just absolute bullshit. Now, the House of Wolves is giving us a narrative, but when you look at the content being rolled out, it's the same shit as before. 3 story missions that basically require us to kill a fallen leader and that quest mission shit. Although I will say this, in the Dark Below, that quest stuff was actually pretty good. So they're gonna have it again here, but most likely they're just gonna copy exactly what they did in the Dark Below. And although we don't know much about what the full story is going to entail, I don't think anyone will be shocked if this game isn't able to answer simple fucking questions like, what the motherfucker are they Awoken in the first place? No, seriously, what the fuck are they? Because we never got that in the campaign. I don't think we'll get much more in terms of story in this motherfucker, but at least we might get a full description or explanation of what the fuck the Awoken are. If we don't, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised. Because let's be honest, Destiny storytelling is absolute crap. Now, next on my list, Trials of Osiris. Why are we paying for another game mode? I mean, I'm not going to get into the whole it's already on the disc debate again, but the icon has been sitting in the Crucible now for 4 fucking months. Unless this game mode is going to be the greatest shit since Prohibition ended, I don't see why I need to pay for a fucking DLC mode that should already be in the game. Essentially, it's Diet Iron Banner. No, really, how else can you look at this shit? Power advantages are enabled, which we already have. It's 3-on-3, which is skirmish mode, again, which was already available. And I guess it's going to come with a few modifiers for tryhards in order to get that shit from the event. But let's be honest here, this isn't high on the list of shit people are willing to pay for. Granted, Crucible players will enjoy this, and co-op players have no issue with multiplayer maps being added to DLC because all form of the game do need some updates and variety. But when it comes to co-op events, Destiny has given us the short end of the stick here. Last thing we got was the Queen's Wrath, which sucked more ass than her brother at the Blue Oyster Bar. Old school Police Academy fans will get that joke right there. It was so bad that it never returned in its original form. Instead, they basically took the Dark Below and they turned all that shit into the Queen's Wrath all over again. It's the same fucking thing when you look at them side by side. I believe I did a rant about that shit before. I'm not going to get into that again, but it's the same damn fucking thing. The Crucible already gets the Iron Banner once a month. Now the Trials of Osiris again, and this is basically Diet fucking Iron Banner. There is nothing new or unique about this other than the rewards themselves. Those pieces of armor do look pretty fucking badass, so I have to give Bungie credit on that one. But otherwise, this isn't major content and certainly doesn't seem like something we should be paying for. Other games release tweaks and game modes through patches and updates. Meanwhile, with Destiny, you have to fucking pay for it. Come on, man, it's a load of bullshit. I'm glad we're getting an event, but it doesn't seem like something we should have to pay for in order to get. It's just more laziness on their part to collect our fucking money. Now, the final piece is the biggest one. No raid. Raids are the best part of Destiny, period. End of discussion on that one. And while I have some concerns and some actually positive things to say about the Prison of Elders, the missing raid is the real kick in the dick here. Raids were supposed to be the pinnacle achievement in the game and teamwork. And the Vault of Glass was the best thing this game had going for it. Crota just wasn't up to par, but the reward system was much better. I'm not going to get into that shit right now. Not including the best piece of your game in the DLC is completely risky. And to be quite honest, it's disappointing. And it's not that I dislike the Prison of Elders because I just don't know anything about it. It's because the best part of the game that people would look forward to is not happening. Bungie says that later in the year there will be a raid, which will most likely be part of that karma crap that they said is coming before the end of the year. Which, by the way, how much do you think that shit will cost if this fucking DLC costs $20 a pack? Man, I ain't even gonna get into that shit. You know, there's gonna be no new adventure to enjoy with 6 friends. There will be no speed running for a YouTube versus Prestige Gamers event through a new raid. It's essentially reduced down to a 3-person mode. I wanted another raid. Now, there's no other raid with 6 people. So yes, it does suck. And without knowing what the Prison of Elders would offer, it's still going to be something we have seen before. And since the Prison of Elders is the replacement raid that you can call it, I can tell you right now that raiding players are going to measure that arena event on how it compares with Crota and the Vault of Glass. Personally, I don't think it's fair, but that's the reality. The Prison of Elders sounds like it's all going to be guaranteed a wave survival mode type game. Nothing wrong with that. Survival modes and wave modes are fun to play, but for my personal concern, it boils down to a 3-player event. We already have 3-player events. That's all we fucking have in this game is 3-player events in the game. So adding one more, even with Horde mode, truly doesn't change the dynamic of the feature. Look, it could be fun. It could be gloriously done to perfection, but it will always be a 3-player mode. That just seems like a cop-out. On the flip side, there are some positives that people can take from this. Even if you may not like this shit, there is a silver lining in the cloud when it comes to it. For starters, it is a little something different than what we have now. Granted, it's Horde mode. It's the same shit. It's survival mode. We already have 3 fucking strike missions that have some form of wave activity. The Devil's Lair, we have to survive for 3 fucking waves. Summoning Pits, 3 waves. The Nexus, where you have to kill 3 fucking servitors, whatever the hell it is. So we have some version of wave mode or survival. However, if Bungie actually manages to do something different with this, then yes, we did get brand new content in this story pack. Do I think it's going to be completely different? Absolutely not. It's probably going to be the same shit we've seen in all other games that have come before this. But as far as what it entails, yes, if it is a survival mode, if it is a wave survival horde type deal, that isn't something Destiny has at this moment. Another good thing, smaller groups. it's going to be a lot easier to find players because let's be honest right now, this game is 6 months old. Finding a full raid team is almost impossible just due to natural attrition. People don't want to play Destiny anymore. They want to play other games. They want to get the fuck away from this shit. Whether it's boredom, resentment, burned out on this shit, people are not playing Destiny. When I log in, I used to find 2 pages of people, almost 20 people playing this game. Now, I struggle to find 3 or 4 people playing this motherfucker. When I turned this shit on just to do my nightfalls, there were 6 fucking people online. On Tuesdays, there were normally close to 20. It shows you the game is dying because the content is repetitive. The content is boring. The content is the same shit as it was before. And I'm sure when the new DLC releases, all the people that paid for the expansion pass are going to go out and they're going to actually play this motherfucker. But a couple months down the road, what do you think is going to happen? Exactly what's happening now. Nobody's online, and having to depend on Destiny, LFG, and all those other sites in order to find random players is the only way we're going to be able to play this shit. So instead of having to find 6 players to play a mode, now we only need 3 players. So in order to get the best content in the game, in order to get all that endgame content they promised you, you don't need a full party. You just need 2 other players in order to enjoy it. That's a little different. And to be honest, it's going to be a lot more helpful over the summer months for people that still want to play this motherfucker. Finding 2 people is a whole lot easier than finding 5 that want to play this. The final thing that I don't think people kind of realize is the fact that this might actually be a bridge between raids and strike missions. Because let's be honest right now, strike missions are 3 people, raids are 6-person puzzles. I mean, Crow wasn't a puzzle, but the Vault of Glass was an actual puzzle. You can complete it with 2 or 3 players, but having 6 allowed a whole lot more strategy when it came to that motherfucker. 3-person modes don't really have that kind of strategy. Basically, point and shoot. I mean, the majority of this game is point and shoot. But with the raid, there was a little bit more strategy and coordination when it came to certain parts of this motherfucker. Could that be applied to this 3-person mode? Absolutely. Could this be the bridge between a 3-person strike, which basically you can just run off on your own and do the fucking thing, and raids, which required all teammates to be on the same page? Absolutely. So for those that can't get into raids and those that are bored with strike missions, we might finally have something that bridges the massive gap we have when it comes to skill and talent in a raid compared to just point and shoot and strike missions. Now, whether or not that actually occurs, we don't know, because again, we don't know the full details, but we may have a bridge gap between the main 2 parts of co-op that people play in this motherfucker. Now, of course, the natural skepticism in me says, well, why don't we just have a raid and the arena mode? You know what I mean? Why not just roll out both? Why not, for $20 fucking that people will pay, give people 2 separate items? Give them the raid that people like, and give them that brand new content in order to test it out. Because look, if people don't like the raid, they can go play in the fucking arena. If they don't like the arena, they can go back to the raid. But instead of doing both, of course, Bungie took the lazy way out, and they only added 1. And again, oh, the raid's gonna be coming later in the year. Fuck you, we're still gonna have to pay for that shit later anyway. If people don't like the arena, if they don't like this horde mode crap or whatever's being rolled out, then essentially, we have no fucking raid. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm sure as far as the community is concerned, if you're gonna roll out something different from what people like and what they want in a raid, it better be good. I mean, you're gonna be facing some massive backlash if the arena falls flat and it's not up to par with some of the other shit the game has released. Could it be done right? Absolutely. But the fact is, it has to be done right in order to bridge you from May all the way to September, October, whenever the fuck that new comic shit is actually being released. So in any event, when you look at this DLC, there's just no way to fully judge the content until Bungie starts giving out all the details and people get to actually play this motherfucker. Of course, the Bungie kids are naturally going to overreact without giving it a chance. But for me personally, I want to at least wait to see whether or not this content is going to be decent. I have some concerns. Obviously, there are 3 things that I'm very concerned about when it comes to this, but I'm at least going to give it a chance, specifically the Prison of Elders, to see whether Bungie is on the right direction. I'm sure that people are going to have gripes. I'm sure people are going to love it regardless, but we'll save all that and the second guessing for when the motherfucker actually releases and when Destiny puts the actual info out on this motherfucker. Me personally, I have the expansion pass and I have nothing else to play this summer. So the fact is, when this motherfucker releases, I'm going to be playing this shit. But anyways, that does it for this video. As always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit. And I'll see you guys in the next video.